Thank you for sharing all those anecdotes about everything that goes behind it. It makes me more feel more proud about being a Bangalorean now. I've been living here for 12, 13 years. There's a little story I want to talk about. I used to work at a company, Tesco, and this guy used to work for me, and he says, Karan, you know what? You give me one third the salary, but give me old Bangalore, because he grew up in Bangalore, and I felt like what he had a memory of Bangalore. Obviously, his lots changed, and I'm assuming that a lot is about the environment and the traffic that he was alluding to. But look at his point, and it's a very deep thought. One third of the salary, but give me old Bangalore. Uh, Mr. Dwarkanath, I saw your card, and I said, I flipped it around and saw, you come from Central Council member, so distinguished guest here. He is the CS Institute in Delhi. I'm a Delhi boy by background. I've been living here for 12, 13 years. So I used to go around the Lodi area. Very green, Lodi Gardens, very, very famous for the greenery over there. So that kind of reminded me, and so thank you for being here. Mr. Subbarao is the one who's the reason I'm here. He's also a board member on Nordwind Gaming, where I'm the group CFO. He's an independent board member. We really value what he contributes to the board conversations. A lot of the people at the board always looks to say, if Mr. Subbarao is okay with this, we are okay with this idea, because a lot of the confidence he gives, and that is the power of being a company secretary or being an independent board member. There's a lot of value you bring to the board. So other people on the dais, so thank you very much for the opportunity. I don't know what I'm going to speak about. I thought I'd put some slides, and Mr. Subbarao said, no, you're going to speak correctly. So I said, okay, let me think about what I'm going to talk about. So just raise of hands, how many students here? Just so that I get a sense, are there any people who are still studying, who are trying to become professional? And it's okay, there are a lot of senior people sitting, but if you're a student, just raise your hand. You're a student for life also, but okay. Yeah. No, I will have some anecdotes for you as a student and why ESG gets important. But before we get to that, in terms of the macro trends on ESG, I think this has to land personally for you, the ESG idea. Otherwise, this will become a flavor of the month, and we'll go away and we'll say, okay, this happened, we attended a seminar, and we heard something, we'll forget 90% of it, and it will not land in our heart. So what I'm trying to do today is first bring this close to your heart. And I'm going to get inspired by what Mr. Subbarao spoke about. He spoke about from the scriptures, from our religious scriptures, where there's a reference to the environment, reference to the climate, reference to things that we care about. And I follow Sikhism. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is our guru. There is Gurbani. I recite, and there is a one line or the slok that I will mention to you, which will bring this home to you. This will bring it very close to you. And the line of the slok is Pavan Guru, Pani Pita, Mata Tat Mahat. I don't have to explain it, but the Guru is the Pavan, the air that we breathe. So think about it, the Guru enables you to remember the God, because you're breathing it in and out every day. And you've got to respect the Guru. So air, taken care of from a respect point of view. Pavan Guru, Pani Pita. The father is the water. Whether it's the rain, whether it's the pond, whether it is, the nurturing that it does, that's the father. And all we know, Mother Earth. So, very beautifully constructed, right? And these three things should matter to us. And if they matter to you, and hopefully this brings it home for you, that this is something I care about, the air, the water, and the earth. And if this even resonates from a spiritual point of view, that this is actually your mother and the father and the guru, then I don't have to say anything. Then ESG should matter to you, because that's the core of ESG. Okay? One of the things that I was thinking about was is when we used to go to school. Did you guys have a moral science class or a moral? Anybody? Because I'm feeling old. Maybe. Yeah. All had a moral science class, but उसका test नहीं होता था ना. There was no reporting, there was no marking. It was on the teacher, who would say, okay, this person has been, following the code of ethic, has been ethical, didn't speak the lie, was following the. So there was somebody who was watching and giving a report, and your parent would come and say, okay, maths and physics and everything and moral science, somebody will get a 90, somebody will get an 80, somebody was really a bad, guy in the class will get, a fail in the moral science because the teacher wanted to complain about that. So, but we didn't care about it, but I feel like the ESG today is like a moral science. Nobody, it's like, it's there, we need to report it, it's like necessary evil, but it's not critical to have because the shareholders don't care about it. Shareholders only want to worry about what return I'm getting. I don't care whether you're burning more carbon on this. Okay, so that is the I think this is a bit of the past, and I know the government is doing, the SEBI is doing, and a lot of the policies are happening, which is trying to bring this onto the limelight. But the trend that is changing is there's a whole revolution which is happening. The world saw a big revolution change when the world went from being communist to capitalist, right? The Russia, the USSR broke down, the Germany broke down, there are hardly any communist countries, left in the world, everybody's become capitalist. There's a new word out there, which is impact capital. Okay, impact is a broader term, it encompasses ESG, so you will hear it from me in a couple of statements I've made. But keep impact as an idea, which is where the investors, the limited partners who are putting money in the funds are saying, I'm not only interested in the 25% IRR that this fund is going to give me, but I'm also interested in what's the impact it is doing to the society. How is it giving back to the society? How is it giving back to the environment? And they want to measure it. They're making it incumbent on the funds. And some of the mutual funds have, that when they invest, they want to take care about, where the company that they're putting money in, how they're taking care of the ESG side of things. So this is becoming an important, and this is a revolution which is happening. This is a catalyst which is going to change the way people invest money also. So for the students who are there, this is an industry which is developing. So think about it like, and I'll come to that in a moment, but the clarity about how do you measure impact doesn't exist. And some people spoke about, the assessments and the frameworks, and the world's divided on that, everybody's coming out with that, and I think there's be some conversion, there'll be some consolidation around that. But there's a word out there, IMM, which is impact, measurement and management. How many of you know about ERP? Have you heard about Tally? Some of the finance guys who know Tally, right? Zoho. This wave hit, Y2K happened, Infosys took off, ERP, happened, in the early days of 2000 or in the maybe 90s, when people were starting implementing technology solutions. This ERP is now a $90 billion or $100 billion industry. This IMM is also going to be a technology plus services related industry, which is likely to grow by 2030 to about 30 billion. So it will be like 1/3 of what the ERP industry is going to be. So if you're looking for a career, do get deeper into ESG, do get deeper into the impact assessments, so that you can play ride the wave as it unfolds, the next 5-7 years. So this is an opportunity which is going to break loose, and so people can think about their careers also from that point of view. So just to summarize, it should be close to your heart. Like I said, this is a change which is coming, and with every change there's an opportunity. So think about it from an opportunity point of view. You got to do an R&D. You got to figure out, how you're going to, ride that wave on the IMM side, which is the impact management and measurement. But there are challenges. There are challenges in the way, how to operate this. And I think some of the challenges that we were speaking about, when we were, having a chat in Mr. Subbarao's room, is about misleading ESG ratings. And SEBI's just come out with some clarification on that. And if you follow the Ken, which writes beautifully on a daily basis, they've come out with an article about how the ESG rating, is not very, very thorough. And I was sharing some examples. There are like multiple agencies which rate, on an ESG point of view, different companies which are listed in the stock market. But there is so much diversity in the scores that they get. It kind of, is like, should I believe the S&P or should I believe, the MSCI, or should I believe somebody else? So there is no clarity because everybody follows a different framework. So there is a lot of diversity in the ESG rating. So when you have to make an investment and you want to think about, what's the ESG score, you're probably not going to believe it because different people will have different ratings. So it's not in the same narrow band, it's a very wide band of that. So that's one challenge that exists, and how do you kind of converge that? And the SEBI is starting to put some rules, but I feel, this is my personal opinion, and this is not something that the government would say it, but I think what the Institute of Chartered Accountants done, Institute of Company Secretaries done, in terms of regulate the profession, and is probably the need of the hour, because you need certification to the people who will do assessments on ESG side of things. I think anybody and everybody can get into it. I think they will have some understanding. They are very commonsensical people. They are educated. But how do you kind of create some harmonization in the way ESG gets assessed? We probably need to think about that. And I think maybe, given that we started in our conversation, ICSI may think about how do you kind of create a small mini kind of a committee which kind of starts thinking about it. And unless you start giving people certification, the quality of the ESG rating and eventually the outcomes on this, that come out may not get very consistent. So that's maybe an idea to think about. The other challenge, which is a related point, is the difference in the standards. Everybody has a different standard because it's you can develop but the accounting standards are very well defined. There's a US GAAP, there's an IFRS, and then the Ind AS, and the India is also the IFRS, and this is the well-established way of how you would recognize income, how do you recognize expense, how do you capitalize things, because all of this reporting is going to the shareholders. Alright, so this is the interesting piece, right? If it is a shareholder, the reporting is pretty regulated, it's very, very sorted and harmonized in the way, you do the financial reporting. When it comes to ESG reporting, the motivations are very different. I could be doing it because I want my brand to look nice. I'm Mama Earth and I want to get an ESG report because I want the people to say, when you buy this, cream, this is actually very, very climate friendly, as an example. So I want to get an ESG report. And if I'm Ather Energy, if I'm Ola Electric, I want to do these ratings because I'm motivated by, I want to attract employees, I want to attract investors, I want to make my customers feel good. In financial reporting, there's a lot of clarity. He's the shareholder. You only doing this report, and there's a bit of a government and regulations as well, but largely it's the shareholder who's at the center in terms of how you think about the financial reporting. So these are the points which are industry challenges, and how the industry thinks about it, the institutes think about it, is going to be the need of the hour. This is a sector, and this is an opportunity, like Mr. Subbarao also said. I think India can lead it. I think the world is very divided on this. I think India can lead it, and I think we need to kind of put some effort on that. And I obviously we are doing the right thing, but how do you kind of harmonize and put your arms around it is probably an opportunity for us. Last but not the least is technology. In today's world, I don't think we need to think about services. You have to think technology first. Whether it is measurement, whether it was data integration. You have ERPs. Does the ERP carry the data which you can pull out, and then you can massage the data to kind of get the reporting done? All of that, and BRSR is already happening. Are you getting the right detail? But the data doesn't exist. The data that is needed to kind of do a proper report out on the impact measurement doesn't exist. I think but it's a one-time effort. Once you do it, then you can maintain it. So I think that's the couple of things I just wanted to share. So the 2 or 3 themes are: ESG should be close to your heart. It's not a flavor of the month. You should care about it. I've given you a spiritual reason. I've given you an academic reason for that. There's a revolution which is coming. Impact assessments, impact investments. The investors will care about it. The technology is going to take the lead. So for people who are thinking about building careers, this is a great opportunity to see how they can skill themselves, learn more, and put their hand up. Get some certifications done, and get involved in projects. The best learning is obviously by experiencing it, by doing it. So get involved in that. And my last is, obviously, thank you to the audience for listening patiently to me, and thank you for giving me the